Hi guys, we're looking at gold and we're on the monthly chart as you can see. And remember guys, the last time we spoke about this particular chart, I'd spoken about how we had this very nice double top which had a neckline at that point, and we saw price breaking to the bottom side of that neckline. And previously I said that this entire move over here was actually a stop hunt. Why do I say so? That is because as much as we have this M structure over there, we also had this very nice W structure over there. And whenever it comes to W structures, you guys know by now that a lot of traders and investors buy on the second leg of that W structure and they place their stop losses just below. Hence we had this entire move to the bottom, right? To add to that, the market had created this M structure, and by closing below the neckline over here, it ensured that a lot of traders and investors sold some more at this point, placing their stop losses at that point as well. So what am I saying? What I'm saying in other words is that because we have this big M structure, we have a lot of stop losses that are sitting at this point. A lot of investors and traders entered first on the second leg of the M structure, and then again when price closed below the neckline at this point, putting their stop losses just above there. So what's probably likely to happen is that the market will push further up to grab all of those stop losses that are sitting at this point, right? Another reason why I say that the market will push further up is because we have this candlestick over there. It is a bullish candlestick with a small body and quite a long upper wick, and it tells us that at the top where it ends, there's a lot of liquidity sitting at that point. And remember guys, liquidity represents money that needs to be triggered by the market at one point or another. So we can just mark this area over here, and I just hope that what I'm saying makes sense and it's not too confusing. Anyway, from here what I'm gonna do is head down to the weekly chart. Just bear with me. Okay, here we are on the weekly chart. Let's have a look. What do we see on the weekly chart, guys? On the weekly chart we can see that we have a very nice W structure over here, and it started over here more or less, and I believe that it should end more or less at that level as well, which adds to what I've been saying, that chances are that the market will push all the way up in the long term to around this level to trigger all of those stop losses, and then we might potentially get a reversal of sorts, right? But for now, in as far as gold goes, I don't think we should be looking for potential selling opportunities. I believe that in the long term we should be looking for buying opportunities, right? Also, to add to that, guys, we have, let me just actually zoom in a bit, just bear with me. We also have this candlestick over here. It is a liquidity candlestick. We have another one at this point, which is also a liquidity candlestick, and in the future we will see the market push further down to grab all of these liquidity points. But for now they're not important as price is very much far off, right? So what else do we see, guys? Another thing that I see that is also very much important is that price currently seems to be testing the neckline of this M structure over here. Right, can you guys see that? And you guys know that whenever we have M structures, we want to see price breaking to the bottom side of that neckline, and then in the future coming back to the neckline to test it, and at that point we may look for potential selling opportunities. Why do I say so? That is because this level over here, which is here, is a very strong level of resistance, as much as it's a very important level in that it is the neckline of that M structure. Let me just actually mark that zone. Right, so we might get a very nice reversal of sorts at this point, and in fact a lot of traders and sell, or rather a lot of traders and investors have sold at that point. Another reason why they sold is because they see that we have, and especially on the monthly chart, a head and shoulders pattern, with this side being the left shoulder, this side being the head, and this side being the right hand shoulder, right? And guys, as much as I'm speculating that we are likely to see the market coming to this point, what may actually happen is that the market may push further down from where it is. Why do I say so? Another reason is that we have this W structure, and I said to you guys that whenever we have W structures, a lot of traders and investors usually buy on the second leg of the W structure, and then they put their stop losses just below. So there's a lot of money sitting here in the form of stop losses, and the market may push here to grab all of those stop losses and then potentially push further up, right? So at this point, what I'm doing is speculating and just showing you some of the possible outcomes that we may encounter in as far as gold goes. Anyway, from here, what I'm going to do is head down to the daily chart. Here we are on the daily chart. The first thing that I'm going to do in regards to the daily chart is to add my daily channel. So just bear with me, guys, while I do so. Let's see, daily channel. I would add my daily channel more or less for now in this manner, and it's a very steep daily channel, which I really don't like, because such channels are easily broken and they generally don't last too long, relatively speaking. Anyway, let's proceed. So we could say that more or less this is the daily channel, right? And what else do we see, guys, in regards to the daily chart of gold? At this point, I really don't see much, but I just want to point out that we also have a W structure at this point, which has had a neckline at that point. We saw price breaking to the upside, then coming back to the neckline to try to test it, right? Let me just actually draw that properly. Just bear with me, guys. So we could say that this is the neckline of that W structure. We saw price breaking to the upside, coming back to the neckline to test it, and then pushing further up, right? So what may actually happen in the future is that we might see the market coming back to this level to test it, because not only is it the neckline of this W structure, it is now also a very strong level of support. So I'm just going to mark that zone because it's very much important, and just keep in the back of your mind that support and resistance are not lines, they are areas, right? So in other words, we could say that this entire area over here is an area of support, right? I hope that makes sense, right? Anyway, from here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to head down to the H4 chart, seeing that on this particular daily chart I don't see much. Just bear with me, guys. Let's see. And here we are on the H4 chart. On the H4 chart, I'm just going to start by fixing my my drawings. Just bear with me, guys. Let's see. And as I usually say, guys, we just need to ensure that all of our drawings are as accurate as can be, just to ensure that ultimately when we do execute, our execution is also very much up to standard. Right, there we go. Just to recap, guys, remember we spoke about how we have this W structure over here, which has a neckline at that point, and that the market may potentially push further down to this level to test it, because it's a very strong level of support, right? And also we spoke about this level over here. We said that it is the neckline of that huge M structure on the daily chart, and also it is a very strong level of resistance, guys. Remember that. So what do we see, guys, now that we are on the H4 chart? In fact, before we proceed on the H4 chart, I want to start off by adding my H4 channel as well, and just bear with me, guys. I just hope that all of these drawings and lines are not too confusing. The reason why we add all of these drawings is so that we don't forget about our analysis as we move down to the lower time frames, right? So it helps in that regard, right? There we go, more or less. There we go. Right. So remember, guys, this is the neckline of that huge M structure on the bigger time frames, right? It's also a very strong level of resistance. And what else do we see, guys? On this particular, or rather at this particular level, we can see that the market has created what seems to be an overextended M structure. It's an overextended M structure because the first leg is much higher than that second leg, right? And it has a neckline at that level over here, right? So should price close below that neckline, right? Should price close below this neckline over here, right, of this M structure, or rather this overextended M structure, what I would do is wait for the market to close below the neckline, and then again wait for it to head back to the neckline to test it. And at that neckline, I would look for potential selling opportunities, and my take profit should be around, firstly, this level over here, That's because it's also a very strong level of support. Let me just add a structure to that point. Just bear with me, guys. Right, we have a very strong level of support at that level, right? And also remember, we have this trend line, right? And we might potentially in the future see price at this point test that trend line, and at this line, or rather at this level, we might potentially look for buying opportunities again, right? But what I like about the structure over here, this M structure, is that it has actually broken this H4 trend line, right? It has broken this H4 trend line, which is confluencing as far as looking for selling opportunities goes. However, we just need to wait for the market to also close below the neckline of this M structure, and then for it to head back to the neckline again. And then once it does so, at this point is where we would look for potential selling opportunities, and our take profit should be when price reaches this line, right? Or when price reaches this area over here. And at those 2 points is where we might potentially look for further buying opportunities, right? But just bear in mind that we also have this level over here, which is the neckline of that other W structure, and should price come to this point, at this point as well, is where we will look for potential buying opportunities, right? So that is it in as far as my analysis goes. I hope it's not too confusing, but in as far as buying or selling at this point in time, I really don't see any opportunities. Having said that, I would wait for the market, as I said, to close below the neckline of this M structure, and then wait for it to head back to the neckline again. And at that point is where I would look for selling opportunities, and my take profit should be this area over here, which is a very strong level of support. And should price break these two levels, I would wait for it to head back to this level again to test it, and at this point is where I would look for further selling opportunities, and my next take profit would be this level over here, which is the neckline of that W structure. It's also a very strong level of support, and at this point we might potentially look for further buying opportunities, right? I hope what I've said makes sense, and peace out.